Let's talk about Harvey, and we need to point out, folks, that we understand that this is a human story of tremendous dimension. This is going to be a terrible storm, and there's obviously the possibility, we hope it doesn't happen, but the possibility for tremendous loss of life and property. But there is a political aspect of that as well, and that is this is going to be the first test of President Trump and his team and how they handle a natural disaster of this sort, as you can see on the right side of the screen. And they've been very conscious about this today. We've had Tom Bossert, the Homeland Security advisor to the president in the White House, holding multiple briefings talking about how on top of this they are. President Trump has sent out pictures. He's sent out tweets on this subject. Karen, they got to know that this is an important test for the competence of this administration.
Absolutely. And as I look at those maps, I'm from South Texas, and, you know, the amount of devastation you are looking at there, what we've seen so far is they do seem to have learned a few lessons from Katrina. For instance, they are not waiting, as the Bush administration did, for then-Governor Kathleen Blanco to ask for help. They do seem to be mobilizing in advance, and that was one of the big lessons from Katrina. But this is also an administration where they don't have a lot of their players in place. They do not have a permanent head of the National Weather Service or a permanent head of the National Hurricane Center. Over at FEMA, they don't have two of the key deputies in place. So they are really having to do this without a lot of their own team on the field.
And in fact, Byron, because they moved General Kelly as Secretary of Homeland Security over to be Chief of Staff, they don't have a full-time secretary. They have an acting secretary.
No. Well, they have to do two things. One, they have to do well on the substance of it. They have to do a good job when this hits in providing relief. And the other thing is they have to tell people that they are doing it. And the day did begin with President Trump picking a Twitter fight with Senator Corker, and you thought, wow, is he going to talk about this hurricane? They seem to have picked up and gone full court press today at the White House briefing and after that. So I think they're giving this indication that they know this. I mean, part of the biggest thing, their task right now is we know this is a big deal and we're all over it.
Yeah, it's interesting that there really has been a tremendous effort at the White House. I know that the substantive effort, Matthew, has been tremendous, but there's also been a substantial PR effort to indicate they're on top of this story. They're already talking about the fact already, before the full hurricane even hits Texas, that the president plans to go to the area to see the damage there sometime next week when it's appropriate for him to go.
And if you recall, that was President George W. Bush's big misstep when Hurricane Katrina hit, the perception that he was not paying attention. Remember that infamous photo of him looking out at the damage from Air Force One. Even though the FEMA is really more a coordinating agency and the local authorities play a big role in dealing with the actual consequences of the hurricane, it is very important for the president to seem in charge, and I think they're on their way, as Byron pointed out, to doing exactly that.
Karen, I got less than a minute left. I got to ask you a question. I know you've got a lot of ties to Texas. I have to say, for an Easterner, it seems surprising that if local officials haven't ordered mandatory evacuations. Is that just a culture clash or what?
I was actually stunned to see Congressman Blake Farenthold standing on the seawall in Corpus Christi with the winds blowing all around him, just saying, well, you know, this seawall's been here for a long time. And, you know, I think it's astonishing.
Well, okay. That makes two of us.